Socialism is love. Socialism is love for your fellow mankind. Socialism is love for humanity. Socialism is love for planet Earth. Socialism is for equality. Socialism is to resist oppression and repression. You are a hypocrite. You call yourself a socialist. You cry for socialism, but you just bought a house and you just bought a brand new car. How can you become a socialist? My reply, how did I become a hypocrite? How am I a hypocrite? The goal of socialism is to get the people out of poverty and not to become poor like them. BCT, business, commerce, trade do exist whether you live in a capitalist country or in a socialist country. A country, whether it's a socialist or a capitalist, wouldn't survive without BCT, without business, commerce, and trade. In my heart, yes, I'm a socialist. And yes, I do believe in the ideology of socialism. It just happened that I have money. Now that doesn't mean that I'm a hypocrite. How did I become a hypocrite? How am I a hypocrite if 40% of my income goes to federal government? Yes, 39.60% of my income goes to federal government. 39.60, that's freaking 40%. Not to mention, I pay additional 10% state tax, 14% self-employment tax, and 3% city tax. I pay very huge taxes to the government. Now, do I get something in return? None. Nothing. I don't get anything from the government. Do I get a free access to healthcare? No. Can I send my kids to college for free? No. Now, those greedy and corrupt politicians, do they pay taxes? No. Those billionaires and those multi-millionaires, do they pay taxes? No. Even the poor, do they pay taxes? No. Who paid the taxes? The middle class people. Again, the rich and the poor, they do not pay taxes. Only the middle class people. Now, is that fair? No, it's not fair at all. Now, am I a hypocrite? I'm not. I am not a hypocrite. You have your own business. How could you become a socialist if you have your own business? My reply? Again, business, commerce, and trade do exist whether you live in a socialist or in a capitalist country. There's one thing for sure that I can share with you. That I pay my employees more than the minimum wage. Yep, well actually, way more than the minimum wage. The people who work at McDonald's, the people who work at Walmart, how much do they get paid? How much do those billionaires pay them? Minimum wage, folks. Minimum wage. Now, is that fair? Of course not. It's not fair at all. Hey, did you know that those people who make minimum wage, those people who are getting paid minimum wage are in government assistance? That those people receive aid from the government. Did you know that? Now, are you aware that we spend billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars for those government aid and assistance? Now, I don't mind, if someone couldn't afford his/her medical expenses, then I don't mind helping him or helping her. Those people really do need help from the people who have money, from the people who have the capacity to help them. You know? But it has to be fair. Everyone needs to pay the fair share. Those rich people, those multimillionaires, those billionaires, they need to pay the fair share. They need to pay their taxes equally and truthfully and honestly. Even the poor, they need to pay taxes. Not only the middle class people, everybody needs to contribute to the system. Here are my proposals. Listen. First, let's eliminate the tax bracket. Second, increase the tax to 50%. 50% flat. 50% for everyone, for everybody, regardless of how big or how small the person's income is. If John pays 50%, then Paul, George, and Ringo should also pay 50%. Now, isn't that fair? That is super duper fair, right? My son is here. Hello, Markslin, how are you? Okay, you just play, okay? I'm working here. So, yeah, again, folks, everyone needs to pay the fair share, regardless of how big or how small the person's income is. Okay? Those rich people, they need to pay the fair share. Rich people, hello, do not dodge taxes. Be honest, be truthful, pay the fair share. Even the poor people, pay taxes. Okay? Everybody needs to contribute to the system. Again, 50%. Okay? 50%. Alright? If John pays 50%, then we must all pay 50% federal tax. Now that is fair. That is equality, is it not? Now, every single one of us needs an access to healthcare. Alright? Everyone should have an access to healthcare. Each single one of us must have a health card, regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of status in life. Okay? Now, education. Every single one of us needs to go to school. No kid, no person, no adult, no teenager should be left behind. Every single one of us must have a college degree. Alright? If my kids and your kids will go to school, if all the kids will go to college for free, if those kids will have a college degree, then it will be a fair game in the economy. It will be a fair game in the business world. Why? Because everyone will have the knowledge to compete. To compete in the business world. Now that is fair. That is called equality. You see, folks, education and healthcare are the most important things that we need in life. Yes, education and healthcare are the most important things that we need in our society. I was born and grew up in Manila, Philippines. And look at my country. Look at my motherland. It's a big mess. Hey, did you know that 70% of our population are poor? Yes, 70% of the population live under the poverty line. Now that's a big mess. Not everyone can go to school. Not everyone can get an access to healthcare. You know, it's the sad reality that we face in the Philippines. And that is the sad truth. Imagine 70% of the population live under the poverty line. That is sad. Only a few can go to college. The rest, nah. It's really sad. Now, Do you think capitalism works in the Philippines? Think again. Capitalism only works for the people who benefit out of it. The people who sit on the top of the food chain. Now, how about the oppressed and the repressed? Who speak for them? You see, capitalism is like a game of death. Only a few people benefit out of the loss of the others. That's how capitalism works. You know, they say, socialism only works for lazy people. No, it's not true. It doesn't work that way. You know, in the world of capitalism, it's not fair at all. For example, in the Philippines, not everyone can have an access to education. You know, how about the poor? How about the kids, the babies who were born poor? You know, they don't have money to use to go to school. So it's not going to be a fair competition at all. You know, again, capitalism is like a game of death. Only a few benefit out of the loss of the others. That's how capitalism works. So the result, the rich are getting even richer, and the poor, the people who were born poor, will die poor. And that's how it works in capitalism. Are you aware? Did you know that the countries in first world wouldn't survive without those developing countries? Yes, the rich countries in the north wouldn't survive without those poor countries in the south. And that's the reality. The rich countries exploit the natural and human resources of the developing countries. If you think that capitalism works and socialism wouldn't even work, that socialism is a failure, that socialism is only for lazy people, then you know what? You only see one side of the picture. Well, perhaps you are rich or you are a middle class person who benefit out of the loss of the others. Well, you know what? Let me ask you this. How about the people from the third world? The people who are being exploited? Who speaks for them? Yeah, you know what? Capitalism works. Yeah, capitalism does work. Now, where is your job? Where are the jobs that are supposed to be for the Americans? Gone. Nada. The jobs are shipped overseas. There, to the third world countries for cheap labor. Yeah, capitalism does work. You know, those multi-millionaires, those billionaires, they ship the jobs overseas to the third world countries for cheap labor. And also to dodge taxes. And also to dodge workers' healthcare and retirement compensations. So, I wanna ask you, average Joe, is capitalism fair? You got laid off. Where is your job? Gone! Shipped overseas to India or to Pakistan, wherever that is, for cheap labor. Now you are jobless. You have mouths to feed. Now where's the money? Gone. You got laid off. You're jobless. Is capitalism fair? Of course not. What we need is to believe in the ideology of socialism. What we need is to implement a system that will benefit everyone and not only the few who sit on the top of the food chain. Please look on the monitor.